evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday, February 28th Board of Education meeting. Are we in compliance with open meeting laws?
Yes, we are.
Roll call, please.
Herzog.
Here.
Carnes.
Here.
Szilagyi.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
Wyman.
Here.
Carlin.
Here.
DeWitt.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite our three Oakwood students to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tyson, thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming tonight and leaving us. Here's a certificate for you. Okay. And Mason? No. Mason? Your certificate, Aiden. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. You're welcome to stay if you'd like to stay for this meeting, but otherwise, if you have things to do and studying to do, you're welcome to go. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay.
For tonight's principal report, our Oakwood principal unfortunately wasn't able to join us tonight, but she did pass along some of the work that's being done at Oakwood Elementary. So I'm just going to read a report that she had put together. So this is from Principal Martin. We continue our efforts to create a powerful reading community at Oakwood, both inside and outside the school. As Read Across America Week begins, each class will receive a new picture book every day from the PTO to use as their interactive read aloud in their classrooms. This will be followed up with our One School, One Book event, where every family at Oakwood will receive a copy of the same book that they will read together. Each and every day is an amazing learning opportunity that's taking place across the school. For example, this week in our grade level meetings, we're working together to analyze student writing. We're looking at their stamina as well as their organizational abilities and planning forward to support and lift all of our students. In addition, a group of 4th and 5th grade students are participating in the Word Masters Challenge. Word Masters is a national competition for students in grades 3 through 8 that challenges them to complete analogies based on relationships among words they are learning. Please come and visit us at Oakwood to see all of the great things that are happening, as well as take a tour of our new office space. So that's a report from Principal Martin at Oakwood Elementary School.
Marvelous. Thank you. Very good. And now we have art recognition of our West Side schools, and there seems to be a lot of art enthusiasts here tonight.
Yes. So what we'll do tonight is Kim Brown will read the names. We'll have the students' artwork will be up on the screen, and then we'll be able to get a picture with each one of the recipients. So I just want to congratulate everybody, and we'll look forward to the recognition.
All right. Our first piece is Aliyah Batiste. Tessa Hunter.
All right, congratulations.
Sophia McGowan.
Good. Congratulations.
Natalie Kraus. Lacey Wera.
Great job.
Parker Christensen.
Parker, come right over here. Look great. Yeah. Congratulations,
Nice job.
Parker. Good job.
Sultan Ahmad. Laziza Otanova.
All right, let's.
One
Wait,
for Dad.
yeah, let's get her here. One more time. Congratulations.
Nora Herbert. Okay. Charlie Zhang. Brandy Root. Pash Chi Zhang. Annalise Ruth. Ava Block. Kyan Martini Zeller. Elliot Reed. Bria Blabon. Delaney Fink.
Great job. Good.
Brooklyn Cuffle. Teddy Hill. Caroline Bali. Charlie Mowry.
Congratulations.
Maya Doberstein.
Great job.
Olivia Wiegand. Natalie Backus. Ziva Curtis. Grace Krasinski. Lena Witt. Kinsley Rorick. Hunter Warren. Leighton Lloyd. Prince Zhang. Max Hansen. Kaya Cans. Werner Gobelli. Charlie Labus. Layla Youngblood. Harper Scott. Millie Ironside. Ella Smith. Adeline Herr. Harrison Lowy. Elric Vang. Ariel Verdick. Cece Enley. Go here, and then we're going to Martin Luther King.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there something specific that the Martin Luther King awards?
Do I want to call them up and?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Coleman, do you want to?
We'll just call them up and then after that.
So that concludes the art.
Yeah, this concludes the Art Awards, and congratulations, everyone. Beautiful pieces, and thank you for sharing such joy and beauty with us.
Great job.
Thank you. Okay.
Come on.
Come on in, yes.
Second, nice.
And Dr. Coleman, do you want to talk about the Martin Luther King? Are they in?
So next we will acknowledge the winners of our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. essay competition. The students and their classmates and teachers worked really hard to prepare our students to reflect and write on the impact, the legacy, and the relevance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s contributions to society. So tonight we will recognize our first, second, and third place winners, and then we will ask our first place winners to read their essays. So we'll start by announcing our first, second, and third place winners for high school, middle school, and elementary school. We'll call you up to take a photograph, and then our first place winners, you'll remain and join me here so that you can read your essays.
Okay. And so our high school winners are all from Mr. Cummings' 10th grade classroom. Third place was Dorian Wilkinson. Second place, Alexandria McDowell. And first place, Veronica Fogelson.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You can hang tight 1 second. Just the middle.
Okay. And for middle school, third place, Abigail Quint from South Park. Teacher, Mrs. Lipinski. Second place, Maya Marcourt from Val Phillips, grade 7, from Mrs. Warren's classroom. And then first place, we have Anna Way Hudson from South Park, grade 6, of Miss Weiss's classroom. Congratulations.
We'll get a picture first. Congratulations.
Congratulations, that's a lot of work.
And then our elementary first place winner is Jasper Thielitz from Oaklawn Elementary, grade 5, Miss Shupe's classroom.
All right, excellent. So if our first place winners want to come up and.
Yep, so we'll start with middle school first place winner. Yep, you can go ahead.
In the history of the civil rights movement, Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stand as two iconic figures who played crucial roles in the fight for equality and justice. Their courageous actions and dedication continue to inspire and impact the world today. Rosa Parks, often referred as the mother of the civil rights movement, is best known for her refusal to give up a seat to a white passenger on a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama on December 1st, 1955. This act, although small, had a big impact on the fight against racial segregation in the United States. Parks' refusal to comply with the unjust laws of the time sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, a long protest led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that eventually led to desegregation of buses in Montgomery. Parks' act of courage demonstrated the power of individual resistance against systemic oppression. Her refusal started a flame of hope among African Americans and inspired countless others to join the struggle for civil rights. By taking a stand, Parks became a symbol of resistance and a spark for change. At the same time, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a Baptist minister and civil rights activist, emerged as a powerful leader during the civil rights movement. He advocated for nonviolence and led numerous protests and marches to challenge racial inequality and discrimination. Dr. King's leadership and speeches such as his famous "I Have a Dream" speech captured the attention of the nation. He called for racial inequality, economic justice, and end-to-end discrimination in all its forms. His efforts were instrumental in the passage of landmark legislation, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which aimed to end segregation and protect the rights of African Americans. To sum up everything that has been stated, Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks had a great impact on the world today. African Americans can now sit wherever they want on the bus and can now be in the same classroom as a white student and drink out of the same water fountain. Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. played important roles in the civil rights movement. Their shared commitment to justice and equality were crucial in advancing the civil rights movement.
Excellent job.
That was great.
Well done.
Well done.
Right, and Ron? How you doing, Brian? Good, good. All right, so whenever you're ready.
Women have faced discrimination and prejudice throughout history. This discrimination has taken many different forms over the years. While women have achieved many gains through their rights over the years, there are still major issues. One major issue that still exists that typically falls under society's radar is unfair pricing. Unfair pricing, also known as the pink tax, has been a problem for a very long time and is not something that will be easy to change. An article was published in 2020 by Work and Families, which states that California women spend an extra $2,381 a year for the same goods as men. That might not seem like a lot, but that's an extra $188,000 throughout a woman's lifetime. With that money, you could buy a 2024 911 Porsche and still have over $80,000 left over. The pink tax costs women hundreds of thousands of dollars each year, and it needs to be changed. In his letter from a Birmingham jail, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." In this, Dr. King is stating that whenever anyone is discriminated against, then we all suffer. Just because it does not affect men, that does not mean men should not care. Discrimination against one is discrimination against everyone. The pink tax is not a real government tax. It refers to the discriminatory pricing that inflates the price of goods marketed towards women alongside similar lower cost options for men. The pink tax represents thousands of years of inequality, unfair treatment, and the power that men and big corporations hold. The first evidence research of the pink tax was in 1994. The California Assembly Office of Research made a report that said 64% of businesses in 5 major cities charged more to wash women's clothes than men's clothes. This led to California passing the gender tax repeal of 1995. The new law was made to regulate services like haircuts and dry cleaning. This forced businesses to charge the same price for their services regardless of a customer's gender. Although this law was passed and many others, there are still items that are being priced more just because they are marketed towards women. The pink tax affects things such as razors, shampoo, conditioner, haircuts, body wash, body lotion, deodorant, clothes, kids' toys, and many more products. The pink tax is really a reflection of society's values of women. For most of recent history, women have been valued for their beauty and homemaking. Men were the ones who were supposed to be wage earners. Men were the ones who were supposed to be smart and hardworking. Women were expected to keep house and look pretty for their husbands. Women were seen as objects rather than skilled, capable professionals. For evidence, look no further than the wide array of magazines and their depiction of women. The magazines rarely show capable professional women creating or inventing. Instead, they show unrealistic versions of physical beauty that have been edited and airbrushed. This causes women to feel the need to fill that role whether they realize it or not. Society pressures women to place a premium on their physical appearance, which subconsciously makes them spend more on clothing and makeup. One way to fight against the pink tax is to start buying gender-neutral products rather than the ones marketed towards women. Another is to raise awareness. Most people are not even aware of this discriminatory pricing practice. The best way, although it will be the most challenging, will be to change society's perception of the value of women. When women are accepted as much as their skills and abilities besides just their personal appearance, then perhaps we will achieve pricing equality. Many states have started to pass laws that abolish the pink tax, such as Nebraska, Colorado, Iowa, Virginia. Plus, many states have passed laws that ban taxing menstrual products. As Dr. King stated, injustice everywhere is a threat to people everywhere. As long as women are discriminated against financially by this pink tax, then we are all discriminated against. Our society needs to begin to fully accept women as equals and not just physical objects of beauty.
Very good.
Well done.
All right. Are there any of our other Dr. King essay winners who are here and did not receive their certificate? Well, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings.
That was great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, moving on to the land acknowledgement.
Yes, so as we gather today, we want to acknowledge that in Oshkosh, we're on the ancestral homelands of the Ho-Chunk Nation and the Menominee Indian Tribe of Wisconsin, who lived along the western shores of Lake Winnebago, Wisconsin's largest freshwater lake entirely within its borders. We acknowledge these indigenous sovereign communities who have stewarded this land throughout the generations and pay respect to their elders, past and present. We welcome the duty and opportunity to share stewardship of these lands.
Thank you very much. Approval of agenda. Mrs. Szilagyi?
Yes, I would like to ask that we move consent resolution number 7 to individually considered resolutions.
Okay. Everyone okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Great.
Seconded by... Yeah, do I need to make a motion? So I'll make a motion to move number 7.
I'll second number 7.
Thank you.
Call the roll.
Kearns?
Aye.
Szilagyi?
Aye.
Wright?
Aye.
Wyman?
Aye.
Carlin?
Aye.
DeWitt?
Aye.
Herzog?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Oh dear, I do not have my retirement recognition. Do you have it, Dr. Davis?
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, we have retirement recognition, and we have a long list with some very wonderful people on it. First one is Andrew Britton, social studies teacher from Oshkosh West. He's been with the district since 1993. Timothy Berger, science teacher, Oshkosh North, since 1999. Julie Heptpus, family consumer science teacher, Oshkosh West, since 2014. Jamie Cole, principal of Franklin, 1989. Julie Miller, SLD teacher, Washington Elementary School, 1989. Jill Pascarella, principal, Carl Traeger Middle School, 1997. Troy Schlegel, mathematics teacher, Perry Tippler Middle School, 1995. And Barbara Zelmer, cross-categorical teacher assistant, Lakeside Elementary, 2013. I'd like to open it up to the board for any comments for any of these retirees. Dr. Herzog.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate all of these stellar teachers and principals on their contributions to our students and our staff over the years. As a former central office administrator, I have had opportunities over the years not only to visit their classrooms, but to interact with them or to visit their schools. And these individuals, as I said, are stellar. They've made tremendous impact on students, parents, families, and our community. Just want to make a couple of comments here. Andy Britton has been known as an exemplary social studies teacher at Oshkosh West. He's been a wonderful advocate for students and has done an exemplary job teaching AP classes at a time when AP classes were somewhat rotated among the departments. But Andy has been a constant in that area. Tim Berger, I will always remember the outstanding North High School graduation speech he gave some years ago after he had been selected by the students to do that. Jamie Cole, I first knew as a teacher and as a member of what was then the Staff Development Council in the school district, planning professional development opportunities for teachers throughout the district. And she served as a principal at both Roosevelt and Franklin elementary schools. Always has had an upbeat approach to students, and she will be missed. Julie Miller, I know, has been a very dedicated teacher of students with special needs in our district and has had a great impact on those very special students. Jill Pascarella, I know, has also served as vice principal at Oshkosh North High School before moving on to Val Phillips Middle School, and has seen some really wonderful results. I'm sorry.
Traeger. You said
Oh,
Val Phillips.
I did say Val Phillips. I'm sorry. I got wrapped up here. Sorry. Glad you all are listening to what I'm saying. Carl Traeger Elementary School, where they've seen some outstanding growth in the areas of literacy and math over the years. And Troy Schlegel, I've known as a teacher at the elementary level, now the middle school level, and also as a coach. We're losing a lot of institutional memory here and a lot of very positive contributions to our district. And having worked with some of these people, I just want to wish them, everyone on this list, the very best in retirement for a long and healthy and happy retirement.
Thank you. I can't say it any better than Dr. Herzog, but when you lose two principals in 1 year, it really is very difficult. Principals are very special to this district and to each one of their schools, to the families and to the students. They really are the glue that holds things together at a school and makes things happen. So to lose two principals will be difficult to replace. So congratulations, Jamie Cole, Jill Pascarella. You will be missed, and you're welcome back anytime for any other assignments as we have as necessary. Yes. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Board President's report. We get to this time of year, and there has been a lot of activity in the extracurriculars, whether it be music or sports or art or Legos, and there were just so many extracurriculars to list. I came up with just a little note, a little shout out to all of the extracurricular staff and volunteers. A shout out to those staff and volunteers that are involved in all of our extracurricular activities. We have a hunch that you spend way more time than we could imagine outside of what is expected. Your devotedness is passed on to your students, and it does not go unnoticed. There are so many extracurriculars, too many to mention, and all are important in enriching the lives of our students. Because of your efforts, you are able to make many of our students' dreams come true by engaging their interests and their passions. You help the student become whole. We want you to know how much we appreciate your commitment to our students. You do make a difference in so many lives. Thank you very much. Okay, Superintendent's report.
All right, so we'll start tonight at E. Cook Elementary School. So we love to seeing our staff bringing literacy to life. So second graders at Emmeline Cook read Hooray for Hat with their media assistant, Emma Hill, during the book checkout time. Mrs. Hill read this aloud, extra special by creating a stack of hats on her head while she was reading. Students were able to make, and also students were able to make their own paper hats. So it was a fun and engaging lesson, and thank you for Mrs. Hill for all of her creativity in that event. Lakeside Elementary School's Student Council led an all-school activity where every student made a Valentine's placement. The student creations were then delivered to 4 different nursing homes in the Oshkosh community. As you can see in the thank you cards and photos of residents, this act of kindness brought lots of smiles. So thank you to everyone at Lakeside Elementary for your work on that. Our first LEGO League students, Team Boxtein Vulcan, are headed to nationals again. Last month, the team competed against the top 24 ranked teams in Wisconsin and earned the Robot Design Award and placed 4th overall in the robot game, qualifying to compete in the American Robotics Tournament in New Jersey in May. Their innovative project is ARCH, the Archive and Repository for Continuing Humanity. It is a monument designed to preserve and protect the Earth's languages, knowledge, and biodiversity against future global climate change or catastrophes. The monument would be in a national park for visitors to enjoy year-round. It's incredible to see this team continue to shine on a national stage. We're excited to see where this ingenuity takes them this year. Nearly 60 Vel Phillips Middle School students took part in an incredible Black History Month STEAM Summit sponsored by the Wisconsin Herd. Nationally known artist and STEAM advocate Pat Casso, which, you know, obviously is a Picasso play on words, very cleverly done, did a quick painting demo to kick things off and explained his passion for basketball, art, and engineering. He found a way to pursue several of his passions through STEAM. Students were challenged to create the tallest marshmallow and spaghetti noodle towers, and to see who could create the balloon-powered car that would travel the farthest. This unique event encouraged students to think differently, and it also celebrated the unique strengths everyone brings. Carl Traeger Elementary School celebrated Black History Month by learning about different historical figure each day. Information was shared during morning announcements and posted in the cafeteria. The school's K-Kids Club also made illustrated posters with quotes and background information about prominent Black figures that were displayed around the school. So well done to everyone there. Thanks to our own Teresa Duran and Education Foundation, our school district was awarded nearly $75,000 in a grant from the Arby's Foundation to eliminate student lunch debt. While we are now able to provide free meals to all of our students in 16 of our schools through the DPI's income-based community eligibility provision, much of the debt that students and families had followed them from previous years. So this generous donation will eliminate outstanding school meal debt for over 3,600 of our families in need across all of our schools. We are grateful to have community partners like Arby's who are committed to supporting and uplifting our students and families. So congratulations and thank you to the Arby's Foundation. We did find out also yesterday that we were the only school district in Wisconsin to receive such a grant. So yeah, it was great work. True Academy math and science teacher Kevin Wachholz has resurrected an abandoned grow light system with a few donations from friends and family members. He recently started to pilot a program for students to learn a thing or two about finding their inner green thumb. He was awarded a OASD Education Foundation grant to continue this pilot with newer and more efficient equipment for next year. However, the patched together system being used this year has proven effective as it has already produced some signs of life. So students will soon have cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, and flowers at True Academy. So there's probably a business lesson in sales going on at some point. So we'll keep everybody posted on that. So thank you, Kevin, for your initiative on that. Roosevelt Elementary recently celebrated their 100th day of school and 100 years of being a school. Roosevelt welcomed its very first class of students in 1924, and earlier this month, the current Roadrunners came together for a unique 100-themed celebration. Each classroom created a collection of 100 things, 100 acts of kindness, 100 origami pieces, 100 compliments, and more. The collections were shared with the school family at an all-school celebration. So congratulations to Roosevelt Elementary. The Oshkosh West Black Student Union, along with parents, staff, and community advocates, came together for a small group, a Black History Month celebration. Students shared original poems, original songs, and even participated in karaoke. They also created a poster of inspirational Black leaders, which were on a display around the room. We look forward to seeing their efforts continue next year in an event that will likely be beyond school for a larger community audience. We're also looking forward to joining together to celebrate Oshkosh North's Black History Month Assembly tomorrow during the day. So congratulations to everyone there. The Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Association recently announced Stevie Clark of Oshkosh North High School as the recipient of the 2024 Legacy Leadership Award. Only one male and one female wins this award each year for the entire state of Wisconsin. In addition to being a standout on the basketball court, Stevie is incredibly committed to giving back and making a difference in the lives of others. He has dedicated countless hours to serving his community, from mentoring youth players to reading to elementary students. Stevie exemplifies what this award embodies by showing strong character, courage in the face of adversity, and dedication to others through service. We're so proud of Stevie and congratulate him on this impressive recognition and wish him luck throughout the month of March as they pursue a trip to Madison. Over this past weekend, Oshkosh was treated to a spectacular all-city orchestra concert. Our elementary, middle school, and high school orchestra students came together to make incredible music and showcase the importance of music in education. From Taylor Swift's Shake It Off to Queen's We Will Rock You, the packed fieldhouse at Oshkosh North was bursting with energy and excitement. Special thank you and job well done to all of the students, teachers, and volunteers who made this concert possible. Our Mission Keepers podcast is continuing to uncover and uplift the incredible staff members who are living our district's mission each and every day. Episode 4 dives into the life of Max Garvey, technology education teacher and department chair at Oshkosh North High School. In addition to being an innovative educator, Max dabbles in some interesting side hustles, from being a behind-the-wheel instructor to a shrimp farmer. That's right, shrimp farmer. So check that episode out. New podcasts are being released each month. Next up is Mary Gabriel, a special education teacher at Oshkosh West. You can subscribe to Mission Keepers wherever you get your podcasts. The district recently facilitated a conversation meant to help our community better understand the impact of Wisconsin private school choice or voucher program. I joined our Oshkosh private school colleagues from Lourdes and Valley Christian for a panel discussion that was moderated by Michael Ford, Associate Professor of Public Administration at UW Oshkosh. The discussion provided insight in how the voucher program works, the impact on both public and private schools in Oshkosh, and its impact on local property taxes. The video program will air on Oshkosh Media's Life TV during the month of March, and you can also watch it at any time on the district's YouTube channel. As you'll hear in the video, all of us believe that there's plenty of space for agreement on the importance and positive impact of having strong schools in Oshkosh. And finally, just a list of some activities that I've been pursuing over the last couple of weeks. So again, thank you for everybody for accommodating our presence in the community. So, and that concludes the Superintendent's Good News Report for tonight.
Thank you very much. District Administrator Supplemental Reports. Verbal report from February 14th, 2024, Board Listening Session, Mrs. Conrad Peters.
Good evening. On February 14th, we had 3 individuals speak at the listening session. 2 of the individuals were parents of 2 children at one of our elementary schools. They described their frustration with their oldest child's current teacher and the teacher that was in the classroom earlier in the year and another upcoming teacher transition. The parents have worked with the principal, the dean, the director of elementary schools, and progress is being made. The progress, though, is not enough and is impacting their child. They're concerned about their youngest child in the future. The parents were frustrated, passionate, and looking for change and assistance. The mother described her experience volunteering in the classroom and her interactions with school staff and looking for help. Dr. Davis thanked the parents for coming in and for sharing their experience. The 3rd individual was a community member that asked for a follow-up on the middle school Chromebook concern from the last listening session. Jason Schmidt, Director of Technology, highlighted the following action steps that included better support for families in transition years with Chromebooks. And transitions are at grade 5, 6, grade 8, 9. Continued focus on keeping students safe by filtering content at school at home. And he reminded us that adult content is blocked and keyword searches are blocked on OASD Chromebooks at school and at home. Suggestions to continue work with parents to get feedback, and the individual also spoke in support of the library media specialists, described the filtering system on social media and internet, and stated that public libraries are one place that is not filtered. Follow-up action steps to the listening session. The middle school level is receiving new Chromebooks next year, and updated supports and trainings for parents and families are being planned, and the district technology team actually met today. And Dr. Coleman is working closely with the elementary school of concern, and we are already seeing improvements.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Math report. Mrs. Cole.
So the next two reports that we have for the math and our reading written report are updates on our progress as of our mid-year iReady scores. We monitor that progress internally on a monthly basis, but as we would use the iReady updates, we wanted to be able to give you a mid-year report. Mrs. Cole and team, along with Ms. Brown and team, will provide you with an update on where we're at for both math and reading as of today. So,
thank you. So the report that we're referring to tonight is from the iReady, which is the assessment tool that we use to measure mid-year progress in math for grades 1 through 8. As you know, the district's goal in math is to have 62% of students in grades 3 through 8 proficient or advanced by 2025. The target for the end of the current school year is for 56% of students to be proficient or advanced in math, and we use the iReady spring assessment for that. At the elementary level, professional development is being provided to teachers. The grade 3-5 teachers focused on math first semester for district-wide professional development, and the second semester, grades K through 2 are focusing on math in district professional development. We also have student-centered coaching in place with our math ISTs in every school. Every school is holding monthly math team meetings that involve the teachers, the IST math staff, and principals. Myself, along with Julie Holmes, our math coordinator, we are doing math learning walks in all of our schools along with the principal. So far we have hit every single school at least once, and our goal is by the end of the year to be in a 3rd, 4th, and a 5th grade classroom doing a math observation in every single school. So we're very busy doing those math learning walks, and after those learning walks, we provide feedback to the teacher, so the principals are meeting face-to-face with the teacher, followed up by an email that's providing feedback on their strengths and opportunities for growth. Julie Holmes and I are also meeting monthly with every principal to go through math data, so those meetings are in place. And 4th quarter, we're going to start having monthly meetings with Dr. Davis as well to keep him updated on just all the latest in math. At the middle school level, professional development and monthly department meetings have focused on using frequent formative assessments to guide their instruction and proficiency scoring. And in grades 6 through 8, professional development is focused on creating engaging, student-centered classrooms by fostering student discourse and productive struggle.
So again, wide open for questions. Yeah.
So I'll start. I'm not sure you meant it this way, but I'm going to ask the question. So when you talked about having the conversation with the teachers after you're in the rooms, you said we have the opportunity to then share with them areas of improvement, things they could do. Is there also a conversation with the teacher as to feedback that they can give to you guys? Things that they're seeing in their room, reasons why they did what they did. Like, I just want to make sure that that conversation is very much a two-way conversation, because we have a lot of teachers who, they don't want to move into administration. They don't want to be principals. They love what they do and they're awesome at it. And so I just want to make sure that conversation, because that is an area that I hear, just making sure that they're being heard as well.
Yes.
So just the way that was said maybe didn't sound like there was a two-way conversation,
Sure.
so maybe you can.
Yes, so they're having those conversations with their principals, and just like after any observation, whether it's a math learning walk or a mini observation or an observation done for in educator effectiveness for evaluation, it's always a two-way conversation where the teacher is reflecting on the lesson, what they saw as these are the things that the teacher thought went well, these are the things they maybe would have done differently. So those are definitely two-way conversations.
I mean, I think teachers like having the admin team in the rooms. I think the assumption that they give feedback to principals, principals give feedback to you, sometimes maybe it's not as straightforward as a teacher giving that feedback straight to one of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so just want to make sure that conversation piece that is available to them, because I think that's an important part of them feeling like, as we go through a lot of these changes that we're going through, and a lot of accountability, that they're being heard too.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for that feedback. We do have a plus Delta Wonderings form that we have the principals that they can fill out and give us feedback about that math learning walk process. And so we have gotten some feedback from principals based on feedback they got from their teachers, and have made some changes to our process accordingly. But we haven't done anything teachers directly to us, so that's definitely some great feedback for us. Thank you.
I have a question. Sorry, Chris.
Oh, sorry.
It appears that we start at 1% at the beginning of the year. Mid-year, it has gone up in all the schools. How do you feel about accomplishing our 56% goal by year end?
I think it varies very much between schools and grade levels. Right now, I would say I am not confident that we're going to hit our end of the year target across the board. It's really hard to know with the mid-year data what that's going to look like, because it's really hard to predict the progress how much progress will be made second quarter.
And I think
Or second semester.
a lot of it, as I'm debriefing just on a monthly basis and just also out in buildings talking to principals, a lot of what we're working through is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
We see some great, pockets
Yes.
in some achievement, but that consistency piece is still something that we're still, getting underneath to be able to help support for staff. So again, and that goes back to, I think, the earlier conversation about being able to get teacher feedback to really clarify, like, what is the issue, what support do you need, and for us to be able to, especially on our new design, to be able to have directors that can be in classrooms more, help supporting principals as we're moving forward, to be able to, in a really responsible way right now, based on the feedback that we have, what are the areas that we're looking at? So if it's fractions or if it's, particular skill sets that we can identify those right now and be able to have those incorporated in. So that takes just, time to be able to build, but certainly something that we're structuring.
When you say consistency, what's your number one area of consistency?
As far as a particular skill, or
I'm not sure. You said we're working on consistency. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so from my perspective, and I can have the directors talk too, I think from my perspective, it's really looking at consistency of high quality instruction across the grade level. So for example, if you have 4 fourth grade teachers, making sure that we have that high level of instruction consistent amongst all 4 versus maybe 2 out of 4. So just one example, but like that's the type of consistency that we can have.
Okay.
Part of that is also just baking in our professional development time, collaboration for grade level teams to get together and talk, and when we're focusing on literacy and math, to be able to have them share practices and be able to lift each other up. So there's a peer-to-peer aspect of that, and then also certainly a principal aspect of that. So I don't know.
In the math
if you guys have
learning
more.
walks, so we started the math learning walks toward the end of first semester, and those have been really enlightening. We're collecting data on the rubric that we're using to do the walkthroughs, and so they've really been enlightening as far as pointing out what specific areas for professional development are needed. And so two of the areas that we've been focusing on as a learning team are just the rigor in instruction and the engagement of students in that high level of discourse in mathematics.
I have a couple of questions, and well, I guess one question and one comment. So the assessment at the beginning of the school year, is that, I forget, assessing students about where they should be at the beginning of the school year, or it's assessing where they should be at the end?
It's assessing where they should be at the end of the school year.
Yeah.
So the end of the year grade level. So you would expect that most students at the beginning of the year would not be proficient at the end of grade level benchmarks. And same with even mid-year. They should be making progress toward those end of the year goals, but they wouldn't even have had all of the instruction on the end of year goals at that time.
Right. I know what I get as a parent tells me if they're like at the beginning, middle, or end, and I haven't ever, I'm sure you've told me before in the past what it's assessing, but I just wanted that refresher. My second comment is about the math walkthroughs. I just want to say, as a teacher, I valued being observed by my principal, but I really valued being observed by, in the district where I was at, they called it master educators who weren't in our building every day, and it wasn't someone that I had that, daily interaction and supervision role with. And so I think that's great. From what you're saying, my understanding is that you and Julie Holmes go in and do those observations, correct?
Along with the principal.
With the principal, yes. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of value in that, in being observed by someone outside of the school building. And I know that was also part of the conversation we had when we added extra director roles. So I just really wanted to say thank you for setting that goal to get into every, you said 3rd through 5th grade classroom?
A 3rd through 5th grade classroom in every single building by the end of the year. So yeah,
that's
it's
impressive.
A lot of classes.
I just wanted to acknowledge that, like I said, as a teacher, I always appreciated that. So
it's one of my favorite parts of my job. I love being in classrooms.
Good. Thank you. Those are all my comments and questions.
Anyone else? Did you have one?
I don't know, I guess so. Well, I was talking to my elementary kid and my middle school kid the other day, and they said that they really like math and it's engaging. And I think that being the students that are engaged, that's a good thing. So I always ask, well, don't always, but sometimes we'll ask this generic question: what are some challenges ahead and what are some opportunities, and is there any way that the board could maybe help so that it would be easier for you guys to reach, or for more students to reach their math goals? Like,
that's a good question. Yeah. So one of the things that we have going on this semester is we have teachers that are piloting the 3rd edition of the Bridges math curriculum. And that 3rd edition has some great upgrades. It's more user-friendly for teachers, but it also has some very explicit equity components to it. And I think when we talk about our achievement gaps for many of our groups of students, I think that's going to be a really critical piece for us. So we're excited to see, to collect the data from that pilot, and we'll be sharing that with the board in early May with a potential of voting on adopting the 3rd edition at the end of May.
Okay. I know curriculum adoption is a big deal to me in any subject area, because we've seen and read, or I've read, like past history where country districts didn't get curriculum adoption right. So I'll be excited to hear about that as well. Thank you.
Mrs. Carlin.
Dr. Davis sent us yesterday the iReady results from 2023 compared to 2023-2024. And in looking at that data, I can't really tell if we're doing better than we were last year. And I know you guys are new to some of these roles, but what is your impression on how we did this year compared to last year?
Again, if I can recall from that data, I think we're doing a little bit better this year than we were last year at mid-year. So the difference between fall and spring has gone up for most of the grade levels, not all of the grade levels. I wouldn't say it's statistically significant at this point. And again, this is the first year that we're doing these math learning walks, the math data meetings with principals, and those types of things, because we haven't had a director overseeing math in the past. So, we're just at those beginning stages of really honing in on our data and what professional development is needed and what support we need to provide our teachers and our schools to impact that.
Thank you.
Dr. Herzog?
Thank you. I appreciated the clarification on the beginning of the year scores. Essentially, it's a pretest for what's to come for the rest of the year. And if my math skills are somewhat in the ballpark, the increases have been anywhere from 6% to 21%. And every grade level went up, which we would expect with good teaching and professional development and the right materials. I have two wonderings. First one is, how closely aligned is the iReady assessment with the state assessment?
It is very closely aligned when we look at the data from iReady, from the state assessment, and from our Advantage Math Recovery AVMR testing that we do twice a year. We definitely see patterns of the kids who are doing well on the iReady are performing well, better on those assessments. Again, it's not a perfect science, but there's definitely a correlation in the data. So the iReady is a really good way for us to predict how students are going to perform on the forward exam.
There's also a correlation between higher levels of achievement and algebraic thinking on the iReady and on the forward, and vice versa, where we're low or in areas as well.
I appreciate that clarification, and I think that was one of the reasons why administration had recommended that we adopt iReady some years ago. So that was good. And then my second wondering is, what role might summer school play for some of our students who might need some extra encouragement or a boost before the fall semester begins?
Do you want to speak to summer?
Sure. So in summer school, we have about 3 weeks, and it allows us to provide targeted enrichment to students who are just lagging in specific skills, but then it also gives us information that we can pass on to the teacher who will support that student in the following year. So I think the summer school is an important intervention, but it also gives us an opportunity to help that student see some successes and feel like a successful mathematician in an environment that maybe is different and moves at a different pace than the typical school year. So we're excited that we have so much interest and an opportunity in summer school, and certainly place a high value on what that does for student achievement and student attitudes towards math.
Thank you very much.
Yes?
I have one follow-up thought after this discussion, and that is, we can see that from 4th to 8th grade, starting at the school year, about 25% of our students are already where they need to be by the end of the school year, which is awesome. I would love if you could speak to what supports are given to those students so that they continue to have growth, or so that they are challenged in the math curriculum.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we focus on when we're looking at data is in iReady, there is a typical growth. So if a student makes kind of typical growth, that means 1 year growth in a school year. And then there's the annual stretch growth goal. So every student, based on their performance, has a stretch growth goal. So that would be more than 1 year's growth in a year's time. And so as our teachers are looking at that data, they can see those students' stretch goals, and we want all of our students to meet their stretch goals. So we really think about not just the students that are already at proficiency, but that helps us to think about what are we doing differently for those students to help them meet that stretch growth, to get them beyond that 1 year's growth in 1 year's time.
Yeah, which is how we'll get to more students being proficient at the end of the year.
Yes.
Along with that same piece is the differentiation piece in the classroom is really important, and using those challenge pieces of our CPM and, those kind of pieces of our curriculum for those kids is important as well.
And I believe with Bridges Math, there's a program that kids can do if they finish early. I can't think of the name.
There are several different optional components to Bridges,
Yeah.
so there's some optional things that they can do, and there's differentiation built right into every single lesson with kids being able to use different strategies and explain their thinking and collaborate in groups and those types of things. So, and then, never mind.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, lost my train of thought there.
I do that too. I appreciate the discussion about the differentiation, because that's what I think when I see this. We want to get to that end goal of 56% of students proficient, but I also just, care about the kids who already start proficient and make sure that their needs are met in the classroom.
And that's a perfect example of our curriculum is extremely important, but our teachers delivering it need to be able to know the setting of who they have in the classroom and being able to adjust to who they have.
And I'll connect that to a point that Aaron made earlier about student engagement and student rigor. So when we know that there are students who need more rigorous instruction and more rigorous learning opportunities, we're looking for ways that those students are engaged in small group instruction during the class period. And we know that one of the most important ways that we can make sure all of the students are getting what they need is by providing some of that small group instruction so that we're able to differentiate instructional material, the way that students demonstrate their mastery in that material in the same lesson, instead of all of the students getting the exact same thing.
That's great.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The reading report, Dr. Brown.
Thank you. So as all of you know, the board has set in policy for our students to reach 54% proficiency by the spring of 2024. Right now, grade 3 is the level that appears to be on trajectory to meet that goal. Kindergarten through second grade teachers have been focused on phonological awareness and phonics during professional development times this fall. And teachers in grades 6 and 8 have focused on the implementation of Study Sync. I want you to know that students in grades 3-5 will be targeting language comprehension components within Scarbo's reading rope for the remainder of this year, and that will target our language, our comprehension, verbal reasoning, and of course literacy knowledge. So that's where we're headed with 3-5, and of course we're continuing different work with our K-2 teachers, with our literacy coaches. In grades K-8, all of us have been really focused on foundational skills during the common formative assessments through the common assessments with our rapid cycles of improvement. And then in order to meet our goals in literacy, many of our students still need to grow more than 1 year in order to meet that goal. So when Mrs. Cole was talking about making that stretch growth, we really do need many of our students to meet that stretch growth in order to meet what's set in board policy right now. And then you might have noticed that grades 1 and 2 did not have pieces in there about iReady, because this is the first year that we're utilizing iReady with them.
Questions?
I just have a comment. I feel that the third grade teachers just need a shout out. I noticed, because you mentioned that they're on track, and I noticed, oh yeah, they grew by 20%, and if you look back at math, they grew by 21%. So I think for an entire grade of students across the district to be growing by 20% in both math and reading, those third grade teachers deserve some recognition.
And I'm going to also do a shout out to the K-2 teachers, because I believe that the foundational pieces that they're putting together is allowing our third grade teachers to take the students where they're at and continuing that. So my hope is that we're going to continue seeing this year after year, and we'll continue to lift our scores. So
yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, having a third grader myself too, I know that those kids were impacted by COVID in preschool and kindergarten. So yeah, there's been a lot of ground to make up for those early childhood years that were so important. So Yeah, kudos to everyone.
Thank you for recognizing all the teachers who are working so hard.
Mrs. Carlin.
I have a really quick and possibly dumb question because I feel like I should know the answer to my question. But can you remind me how we came about the 54%? Like, why did we say 50? Why did the board approve 54% proficiency?
Yeah, so at that time, Mrs. Conrad had done some of the background, taking a look at what was going to be statistically significant each year and looking at a 5% lift each year. And so that's where
the 54
you
comes
see
in.
what is in board policy.
It's statistically attainable for us. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And in that context, it's also statistically ambitious. So like that's a really, like that's an ambitious goal to be able to get to. And so I think one of the things that's really important for us to remember is leaning back on our value of continuous improvement. So we're going to push ourselves. We're not going to back away from these high standards and high goals. And if we don't make it, we're not looking to say, all right, who's to blame? Like in our value, like we're continuous improvement. So we're having two-way conversations with our teachers. We're having conversations at the district level. What resources can we support? And we just appreciate having like some succinct targets at a board level and that are consistent to let us go deeper. So if we fall short this year or fall short next year, know that we're still at it and getting deeper and to be able to build that foundation, and that's core to our values of being a continuous improvement district. So, so again, important to be able, for us all to be able to just continue to have that context as we're moving forward.
Thank you.
Mr. Wright.
I gotta ask a question on Study Sync because I had a number of middle schoolers that were talking to me about Study Sync, and their recollection of it is that it's different and it's a little harder, but their teachers tell them that it's going to make them better, so they keep doing it and working at it. So
yes, yes, and yes.
That's what they tell me. That's their version of it from the classroom.
It's a good thing.
So will Study Sync will help them, grow?
So philosophically, we shifted our thinking in terms of like having grade level text and materials for universally for all our kids, instead of starting where some of our kids are at and trying to build up to that grade level. So they're getting the exposure at the grade level piece. So for some of these kids, for some of our kids, this is the first time they've really had to dig in and work at that grade level. So it is significantly harder, but the more you're exposed and you're working through those pieces, you build those skills. And then how we fill the gaps for the kids who are maybe below grade level or need support is small group instruction and targeted intervention.
Yeah, they were telling me, they were like, it's a little harder. My scores were really good last year. Maybe they're a little less now. Like, does that mean I'm doing worse? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it has to do with alignment. Like we're aligning differently. So I guess I just had to share that and ask that question because Study Sync is a popular thing amongst middle schoolers to talk about right now.
Right. Yeah. It's a little bit more rigorous. Yes.
Okay.
I have one question in regards to the grade 3 appearing to meet the goal. Can you touch on some of the other grades? Where are we at with the other grades?
Right now, unless we have significant students who start meeting stretch growth, we are not going to make it in those grade levels yet. But we've just met with our principals a few weeks ago, and what they did is they took some time to look at the mid-year data and to look at where all the students were in each classroom, and they have now met with their classroom teachers to go through that data to really target where the students are and put a plan in place for all of our students. So the plan is in place, so I am hoping that will also give us the bump that's needed in order to get there, but right now we are not on target to meet it in 4th and 5th grade.
Perfect, and I will just piggyback off of what Mr. Wright had said. Is there something that we as a board are able to do to kind of support to get this up and rolling? Yeah,
and I think one piece of that is we are looking at new curricula, so as we are going forth, and it'll be similar in the piece of Study Sync, in that it's going to be very rigorous for our students, but I think it's the right thing for our students. And it will be knowledge building, and it's also going to be at grade level, and so those pieces will be coming to you in the future, and so to have your support as we move forward with taking a look at how we're going to do things a little bit differently in our elementary curriculum will be helpful.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes.
And there'll be a lot more to come on that regard, you know, and specifically looking at where we're seeing some of our gaps to be able to fill with our new adoption that Dr. Coleman will be leading as we're moving forward. So a lot more to come.
And I would say from the 6-8 lens, the big piece is really making sure we are able to hire a high-quality secondary coordinator for literacy will be a huge support piece that's missing right now. But I want to give a shout out to the 6-8 teachers for how much and our ISTs at the middle school level, how much they dug into Study Sync and really worked you know, with me along the way to get them to understand Study Sync and see the value of it, because starting a new curriculum is extremely difficult to do, and when you don't have that middle level support of the coordinator that we didn't have, makes it that much harder. So.
Can I also just do a shout out to the board, because last spring you did vote in giving and adding a couple FTE to the literacy field, and that has made an impact in the schools that we really needed an impact in, and it's able to provide some of the pieces that we would not have been able to do if they were not there. So you already have, and thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Kearns.
So I think it's important, like, I mean, we dug through this a few months back, right? Went through this. So what we're looking at here, I just want to make, when we talk about it and we kind of relitigate it all over again, like, we've made significant changes since that has happened. Dr. Coleman has come with an action plan along with Dr. Davis, right? So we're moving, knowing that we're proactively understanding that this isn't where we want it to be and we're going forward. So I think just kudos and shout out to that process and I have an education committee update coming up that's going to talk through that, but that is an item that we're going to continue to keep on the agenda as we move forward, because, so I just think it's important, like, there's a lot of great shout outs here for areas but we all knew what this was going to look like when we saw the data a few months back, right? So I just don't want us to have to restart this whole process again, and it's important to know that we are moving forward and this will get fixed.
Thank you.
Great.
But I appreciate the comment about asking what the board can do, because if there's more, and we say that repeatedly, right, like, that means more staff, whatever that looks like, we need to have that option to be able to help, so.
Yep, that will be coming later this spring.
Can't wait.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Student attendance quarterly written report, Mr. Kemmerer.
Yes, so Mr. Kemmerer is not able to be with us tonight, so I'll just provide an overview of his report as he read his written report, looking at our update on our student attendance. So our student attendance rate is above the state average, continues to be above the state average, with an attendance rate of 93.3, with the state rate being 92.7. That's under our engagement and communication bucket for our strategic plan. So currently continue to be at that 4-star rating. We continue to work at that Attendance Matter campaign and having the diligence of our teachers maintaining those connections with our kids and families, and also our social workers and guidance counselors and administrators doing a lot of work to be able to engage and develop those relationships to make sure that kids are comfortable and we're overcoming any barriers of kids coming to school, especially as our schools continue to diversify with a growing number of families with refugee backgrounds, with some particular challenges. We're finding as creative ways as we can to be able to continue to hit the high mark that we have here from a student attendance rate. So I just want to be able to provide that and then open it up for any questions.
I find the numbers very impressive in terms of being above the state average. So kudos to everyone who's working on this issue. It's hard to teach students when they're not in school.
That's right.
We need them in school.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I support the Attendance Matters campaign, and at the strategic planning event, I think they were all over on the tables and everything like that. I think that's important that we continue to push that.
I mean, we should. I mean, it's great that we're doing well in this area. I mean, I was watching in the news channel, and there was some news reports on how other districts were trying to find ways to get kids to show up. You know, like as far as maybe like finding parents or whatever, right? So it's awesome that we've found other ways and other means to get kids in class and to get them to where they need to be. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Other reports, Education Committee.
Oh, point of order?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Calendar.
Yep, I already crossed it off. 2024-25 school calendar, Dr. Coleman.
All right, good evening again. You have before you a draft of the 2024-2025 school calendar. The report has also been provided to highlight some key features and details in this calendar. I do want to call attention to just an item in the report to provide some clarification, and that would be 4D. About the third line, it makes reference to an increase of 5 minutes. That increase occurred in the previous school year, and that item was in that staff report. And so there's not an additional 5 minutes. That's a continuance of the 5-minute increase from the previous year's school calendar. So I want to make sure to provide some clarification, as I know I received questions on that. All right, I'll take any additional questions just about the draft calendar that you have before you, and then features of this calendar.
I just wanted to provide some feedback, and I reached out to Dr. Coleman about the days. I'm trying to look. There was a mid-winter break and a mid-spring break, just asking for some rationale about that. I don't know if you want to share with the public what you said in the email.
Sure. So one of the things that we considered as a committee in the development of this calendar is having a day off for students and for staff that occurs once each month. That opportunity allowing students and staff to engage in self-care, engage in wellness, and then being able to predict when that day comes. And so this does not necessarily differ from what we've done in previous years, except for those days off during the midwinter usually came as a non-scheduled break in the calendar, but as wellness days or self-care days that were approved by the board after the calendar had already been approved. And so this was a proactive way to build those in, so that we didn't need to come to the board following the approval of the calendar for that.
Thank you.
So you'll notice, so you'll notice each month there is a day that staff and students are not expected to attend.
Yeah, and I was just saying, in a lot of months, obviously it's built around a holiday, but those are months, those 2 months, and October. So I think it was, I can't remember exactly, February, October, and April are months where there's not necessarily a legal holiday where staff would have off.
Right.
I would definitely need to say that my 9-year-old appreciates that. She has picked up very much on this school year when we moved. I think this school year is the first time that we moved our professional development days to Fridays. And as a result, students have had almost every other Friday off, and she values that a lot and is very grateful for that. I do think it helps with student and staff wellness and mental health. Kids need a break from, their routine and their schedule to just be kids. I do note, though, and I don't know if there's reasoning for this, in April, the 11th and 18th, those are 2 Fridays that are like back-to-back off, and that happened this January, looking at our current school calendar. And as a parent to elementary age kids, I would just say that it was hard to have 2 back-to-back Mondays off. I don't know if others felt that. But that was not a good mental health break for me. So if it's at all possible, and we don't have to make this change before we vote on this calendar, I'm guessing we'll do that at the next meeting. But if there is a possibility to just switch that one on the 18th to the 25th. I think that that might work better for families. If there's a reason it's on the 18th instead of the 25th, though, I'm willing to accept it for sure. I just wanted to give voice to the rough January that I had with a lot of days off 2 weeks in a row.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's something that Dr. Coleman will look into.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mrs. Carl.
In the past, we've had a group of parents get together from UWO, and since UWO is one of our biggest employers, they had petitioned that we align our spring breaks together so that families could take vacations. Did you happen to know if we did that again this time?
I do believe so, but I can clarify that and get back with you on that.
Thank you.
I like the idea of adding the February day. I think February you start to hear from staff. I know a few years ago we did the mental health days, right? And I think that's like the perfect spot where feedback that I received that, you know, having a day in there to, even if it's just one day, right, just to check out is important. So I appreciate the creativeness on the schedule.
Dr. Herzog?
I just had 2 points under the, I think it's major points, F1. In the event of inclement weather, the district can use those 3 inclement weather days as traditional snow days, and then before and after school activities may be canceled. I know we have a policy on that. We have a policy on just about everything, and you know, there's some language in the policy about that. I believe we may have revised that policy because it used to be without question if the school was called off, then nothing happened after school. So I just want to make sure we're in line with that particular policy.
Yeah, I think that's something that we had taken a look at to have a little bit more
flexibility.
Flexibility there in case of, you know, a snowstorm and then something was cleared up, and, you know, we were able to safely have some of those. So.
Sure. Thank you. And then I want to compliment you on the inclusion of the last part of this report on holidays, special observance days, religious activities and observances. I think that's really important to recognize the variety of practices and cultures in our community, and the whether that's from a cultural standpoint, or which includes religion or some other major events that affect portions of our population. So I really appreciate not only sharing those dates, but what they mean. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I like the calendar. I only have one thought. For some kids, a lot of kids, every classroom day matters. And I think on these days off, I really liked when I saw the Boys and Girls Club. They were doing some partnerships with us. Like, and the more we can partner with outside groups and organizations to make sure that, especially kids that need that extra time, need that extra support, need that extra positive thing to do, that we're continually looking at building those types of things out, because we're never going to become the district that we want to become if we're not continually wrapping things around kids, you know, when they're not with us in schools. So
absolutely,
that's my
comment.
Yeah, absolutely. And that'll continue to be a priority for us, Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, our own rec department, you know, to be able to make sure that we have that support.
I think the calendar's good. I'm thrilled that it's out in such a timely manner. And I like the idea about Boys and Girls Club and other organizations, because I can imagine that for many families, having a Friday off once a month is challenging.
Right.
So I'm glad that it's out early and families can plan, but the more that we can do to coordinate with other organizations that have learning opportunities for our kids, the better.
Yep.
I can't help but think of, like, listening to the county board meeting last night and working directly with a lot of children and families who require childcare. I can't help but think with the shortage of childcare facilities and spaces here, I would agree, you know, with both Beth and Chris. needing to be able to collaborate with the other agencies, because I know that a lot of families, you know, when we're having an every other Friday off, are struggling to find daycare needs for their children. So I think that's a stellar idea.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you all. And
Thank you very much.
Also just thank our members of the calendar committee, parents, teachers, and staff who helped contribute to this, and thank you for your support of it.
Thank you very much. And now we will move to other reports. Committee chairs will be giving these reports. First one is Education Committee.
As previously discussed or mentioned here, we met on Thursday, February 1st. A good chunk of our meeting was talking about literacy, the Literacy Curriculum Adoptions Committee that has been formed, that is looking at options going forward as to adopting a new curriculum. The Adoption Committee is composed of principals, teachers, and people who have been concerned about literacy. I think that was the important thing I heard from Dr. Coleman, is that we want everyone with an opinion, good or negative, as to where we've been and where we need to go, to have a voice in the committee so that we can listen to everyone and take everyone's opinions in it. And I think that's really important. We're looking at 3 curriculum resources to pilot next year, and then those resources would be adopted the following year. An important comment that was made, and listening to the previous conversations about math and literacy tonight, it's important. It says, however, curriculum alone will not produce the results, and that just was important to think about all of our teachers and what we need. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into this, but we're going to keep this as a standing item on our Education Committee. So every month we'll get some updates, so we are aware of where we are as we move forward, because it's our most critical item at the moment. Second item, we talked about the ALPS program evolution. We're going to talk about that later. It got pulled into individually considered, so I'll just hold that conversation. And then the third item was talking about a creation of a Val Phillips Legacy program. And I believe, so this would be something similar to the high school programs with communities and global studies. I think there's still more information to kind of dig through and fine tune as we move forward with this potential program, but it was laid out to us, and seems like it would be a great addition to Val Phillips in the future, and there'll be more to come on that. So we meet again, when is it? March 7th. So, thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Facilities and Finance, Dr. Herzog.
Thank you. The Facilities and Finance Committee met on Thursday, February 8th. We heard from Cable Helmbrecht of the Recreation Department about raising the proposal to raise the seasonal worker wages to be competitive with similar positions in the region. Mr. Fox shared information with us regarding fencing or some sort of device to hide the air handler on the Jackson Street side of the building. He will be talking with the Neighborhood Association because the cost for that came in at over $100,000. So we want to explore some other options there. The summer roofing contract was something Mr. Fox also presented. He shared timelines and prices regarding the roofing projects for this spring and summer at both West High School and Reed Elementary Schools. Mr. Nehans gave us a 2024-25 budget update. He shared a base budget with the committee to review for the upcoming fiscal year. The staffing and healthcare plans are being reviewed for possible adjustments. And finally, Mr. Fox gave us an update on the positive moves forward on the construction of Menominee Elementary School. If you drive by there, you can see daily progress. So lots is going on. Our next meeting of Facilities and Finance is scheduled for March 14th at 7:30 a.m. The Legislative Committee met yesterday, Tuesday, February 27th. We received an update from Dr. Davis on a recent legislative breakfast at CISA 6. Dr. Davis also noted that The state legislative maps have been redrawn, and there will be changes in representatives starting in November. Once the new maps have been distributed, they will be passed along to the board. Dr. Davis also committed to providing a realistic breakdown of what funding will be needed for Oshkosh due to the requirements of Act 20, which is that new reading legislation. This would include costs for professional development, reading adoption, or curriculum adoptions in the area of reading, other resources, et cetera, to Representative Shah, and that will be presented this Friday at the CISA 6 legislative breakfast. Dr. Davis also shared that he had testified in Madison during the past month. He advocated for CISAs to be added to the list of those who can provide training as a result of Act 20 requirements, as long as they have had 2 years of professional development experience in this area, because the original legislation did not include the CISAs as qualified trainers, and this is moving forward. There was also some discussion about, from his testimony in Madison, opposing 4K partnerships that would require school districts to partner with any child care establishment in the community that wanted to have a 4K program. The district currently has strong partnerships in the district and wants to continue to ensure quality standards for 4K programs. However, the legislation has not moved forward in Madison. State Superintendent Underly was present for a portion of the CISA 6 legislative breakfast in February, and the group provided feedback to her on DPI work, requesting more of a focus on advocacy and support, which she was receptive to hearing. I gave an update on the Wisconsin Association of School Boards, the legislative updates. The Assembly has now adjourned for this session, and the Senate is scheduled to adjourn probably by mid-March, although they don't have a date that they've announced. As long as anything that was passed by the Assembly is not modified or amended by the Senate, then that legislation could go onto the governor's desk. And the WASB was encouraging districts to write letters in support of continuing to fund the Office of School Safety. And since our board president is the one who speaks on behalf of the board, Mrs. Wyman graciously agreed to send a letter to our lawmakers to support that legislation. And Mrs. Carlin presented an update on the WASB Delegate Assembly, which was held in January. She reported the meeting went smoothly, with most amendments being passed. And our March meeting was scheduled during spring break, so it's going to be postponed until April 23rd is right now when it's scheduled. However, the committee members were encouraged to contact the member of the legislature to which they've been assigned and invite him or her to come and visit our schools, attend events, and just be present in our buildings and or have coffee with them. And there is another legislative breakfast scheduled at CISA this coming Friday, March 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Carlin, Policy and Governance.
Okay. I have 20 policies to go over in great detail. Just kidding. I have some highlights, but actually I'm joking, but I've really enjoyed this year as policy chair, and next month we'll be reorganizing, and I highly recommend getting back to the basics, because policy is what we do. We implement policies, we change policies, and that is one of our key functions. So I've actually had a great time serving on this committee this year, and I highly recommend it, because there will be a new chair next year. Okay, so we met on Tuesday, February 27th at 7:30. We reviewed 2 grievance policies where the school's attorneys had suggested changes, and we approved those changes. We also had some updates that were suggested for Neola for 18 policies, 2 of which were new policies regarding meetings and academic honesty. 5 of the 18 policies were deletions because information was rolled into the new policies, while the 11 remaining policies had recommended updates from Neola. All of these policies will be put forth for board approval and voting on our March 13th meeting. The minutes will be posted on the district's website if you'd like additional information. We adjourned at 8:26. We will not be meeting in March due to the meeting date falling during spring break. We will meet on Tuesday, April 23rd at 7:30 in the boardroom of the district admin office. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any non-agenda or agenda-related public forum? Doesn't look like it. I want to be sure. Okay. Seeing no one for the non-agenda or agenda-related public forum, we will dispense with that. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Please remember that we have pulled number 7. For the consent agenda, the board has been furnished with background material on each item or as discussed in a previous meeting. They'll be acted on with one vote without discussion.
So moved.
Second. Oh. Moved by Carr and second by DeWitt.
Right?
Call the roll.
Szilagyi?
Aye.
Right?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Carlin?
Aye.
DeWitt?
Aye.
Herzog?
Aye.
Kearns?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Okay. And the individually considered resolution is the Advanced Learning Program, number 7. On the agenda, ELPS at Perry Tippler Middle School. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second. Herzog and Szilagyi. Yeah. I guess I'll start since I'm the one that asked to pull this. This is really mainly just because I wasn't able to be a part of the discussion 2 weeks ago. I missed that board meeting. I do support this resolution. I think what we have going on at the Advanced Learning Program at Perry Tippler Middle School is wonderful, and my hope, and I expressed this at the Education Committee meeting, is that as we continue to consolidate our middle schools, we're able to offer this at each site. I think, my only concern with ALPS has always been that it's not always accessible to all of our families, and so I would love to see it wouldn't have to obviously be the exact same program, but some sort of advanced or accelerated learning program that can serve our 4th through 8th graders at each of our middle school sites as we consolidate that down to just 3. I think it'll be more attainable. So I just wanted to give voice to that opinion that I've held very deeply for many years. So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I guess I'll add to what Liz said. As a parent of a student in the ELPS program, I can speak to how good of a program that is, and I'm excited about its future and the possibilities that we have as a district to potentially provide that, provide that level of education to more students. So.
Dr. Herzog.
Thank you. I also support this move, and I like what Mrs. Szilagyi had shared about spreading that to the other middle schools. I think it's more than proven itself as a viable option for students. However, I also believe that there are parents and students then who are not able to participate because there's no transportation provided. And so opportunities are limited for some students who don't have the ability to travel to every day to Tippler. So I support the resolution and what Mrs. Szilagyi shared about spreading this great program to the other middle schools. Thank you.
That would address the transportation concern.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Call the roll.
Right.
Aye.
Wyman?
Aye.
Carlin?
Aye.
DeWitt? Aye. Herzog?
Aye.
Kearns?
Aye.
Szilagyi?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Request for future agenda items. Thank you, Dr. Coleman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Announcements. Dr. Herzog.
Thank you. I just want to point out that CESA 6 is in the process of accepting applications for their Smart Thinking Foundation microgrants. Schools and systems can apply for up to $1,000 in microgrants to support the needs of students. And applications are due by March 22nd. You can find information on these microgrants on the CESA 6 website, and I believe you can also contact Mrs. Duran, our foundation rep, to get that information. And I just want to give a shout out to all of the students who received art awards tonight, and to their families, and to our K-12 art staff who nurture their success in both 2D and 3D art. That coming to the boardroom tonight, along with those MLK, Martin Luther King Day Junior Essay Contests, is a great reminder and a commitment for us to Students First as a board. And so I just want to give a shout out to all the teachers involved with those contest winners, as well as all the art teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carnes.
Oshkosh North is having its Black History Month celebration tomorrow. Kind of more for board members. I'm not sure most of you have probably attended. If you haven't attended, it is one of the highlights of the school year. So I'm very excited for that. So
good. Thank you. Okay. All right. We are going to adjourn to executive session where, 1, we'll be deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business wherever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. And this has to do with the property sale of Washington Elementary School. And number 2, considering the employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility.
So moved.
Second. Sure.
That works.
Yeah.
Wyman.
And right. And right.
Aye.
Carolyn.
Aye.
DeWitt. Aye. Herzog.
Aye.
Carnes.
Aye.
Salaji.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
We've adjourned to executive session.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, Beth, I made you read that.